The American Civil War, the 19th century's bloodiest conflict, would change our nation's destiny. For 4 years, the United States would be at war with itself. We entered the war in 1861 as a young, innocent, and divided nation, many believing that the conflict would be over with one short battle. After 4 years, approximately 700,000 Americans lost their lives as the technology of mass killing had outstripped the sophistication of medical treatment. Nearly every family was directly affected by casualty lists, as battles were fought in more than 10,000 locations. In the days leading up to the war, people were happily unaware of how different their lives would soon become. Families worked on the farm, trained horses, and grew in skill and affection for one another. In the northern states, people were experiencing an era of tremendous growth, which was creating a fundamental economic difference between the North and the South. In the North, manufacturing and industry thrived, while the South's economy was tied up in farming, which relied on the labor of black slaves to grow their biggest crops, like cotton and tobacco. Still, families from the North maintained strong ties with their Southern relations and enjoyed many playful diversions together, while Southerners sent their daughters north to find husbands. Our country was united. But brother would soon turn on brother and bring this bloody battle to their own backyards. At Fort Sumter, war fever gripped the country, making recruitment easy for both sides. Many men showed up filled with excitement over what they thought would be a short battle. While the North was more well-equipped for battle, Southerners showed up with anything that could be used as a weapon. The Civil War brought many advancements in gun technology. The minie-ball was a type of bullet that was used throughout the Civil War. Designed to expand while traveling along the rifle barrel, it increased muzzle velocity as well as providing spin to the bullet, expanding its accuracy and range. This advance in weaponry, along with outdated military tactics, are often cited as a reason for the large number of casualties. Most soldiers were volunteers as common infantry or foot soldiers. Quite simply, they marched from battle to battle. After they enlisted, recruits became accustomed to Army life's hours of boring drills designed to get them to fight as a unit. Several hundred women fought as soldiers on both sides. While on march, as much as 30 miles a day, they ate meals of cornmeal, salt pork, and hardtack. While back home, Southerners buried valuable food supplies so that the Yankee soldier wouldn't loot them of all they had. Clara Barton was an educator, nurse, and founder of the American Red Cross. Harriet Tubman strived diligently to grow the abolitionist movement and to free her people. Emma Edmonds spied for the Union Army, posing as a young man and even a slave. Harriet Beecher Stowe was an American abolitionist and author of Uncle Tom's Cabin. Ambrose Burnside, a railroad executive, inventor, industrialist, and politician, served as a Union Army general. Stonewall Jackson was a decisive factor in the war and one of the South's most successful generals. But it was Ulysses S. Grant and General Robert E. Lee who would both be considered American heroes. In the summer of 1863, Confederate General Robert E. Lee launched his second invasion of the northern states. Lee sought to capitalize on recent Confederate victories and defeat the Union Army on northern soil. This decisive battle is considered the most important engagement of the American Civil War. On July 3rd, Lee attacked the Union Center on Cemetery Ridge and was repulsed in what is now known as Pickett's Charge. Lee's second invasion of the North had failed and had resulted in heavy casualties on both sides. An estimated 51,000 soldiers were killed, wounded, captured, or listed as missing after the Battle of Gettysburg. It is estimated that 3,000 men died at this battle alone. There were an estimated 1.5 million casualties reported during the Civil War. Most casualties and deaths in the war were the result of non-combat related disease. For every 3 soldiers killed in battle, 5 more died of disease. The Civil War was in the middle of the Dark Ages, when wounds from their sophisticated weapons had to be tended. The most common surgery for the wounded was amputation. Twice as many soldiers died from disease as from battle wounds because of poor sanitation in an era that did not yet understand the transmission of infectious disease like typhoid, typhus, and dysentery. On April 9, 1865, Robert E. Lee surrendered the Army of Northern Virginia to Lieutenant General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia. His surrender signaled that no hope remained for Confederate victory and that indeed the Union would survive. This surrender effectively ended the American Civil War.